Hi guys, it's Anglers from JustStarTrek.com, and today I'm going to be looking at the USS Defiant. Yeah, what a kick-ass ship. So a little bit of history behind it and why it was conceived. So at the time we had DS9 and it was very much aliens coming to the station, and the main characters didn't really get out and about too much, and they didn't really do much except with runabouts. And with the advent of the Dominion War coming along, you couldn't really fight super duper hard ass alien like the Dominion fighting with runabouts, which are just glorified shuttlecraft. So the writers decided that they needed something a little bit more hardcore, and that's where the USS Defiant came in. Now, at the time, they thought to themselves, the only thing standing between the Dominion and the Federation was one space station, Deep Space Nine, so they needed an extra hardcore battleship, which is basically what the Defiant is. So a little bit about the ship. Its dedication plaque, the motto on it says, "All I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by John Masefield," which I think is a really nice quote, and it also links back to Star Trek V, which I thought was pretty cool. So a few stats and figures about the ship itself. It's a Defiant class, launched in 2370. Now originally it was going to be called Valiant class, or the class of ship was going to be called the Valiant, and the producers at the time were slightly worried that people could get confused between the Defiant being called the Valiant and Voyager because it began with a V. So they went with the Defiant, and that worked out fine. It's 170 meters in length, it's 134 meters in width, and it's only 30 meters in height. So it's a very small, compact, tough ship compared to the likes of the Enterprise and others. It made the debut of pulsed phase cannons, which were, if you can excuse me, I have my little cat here who loves these videos too, and they sound like this. No, they don't, they sound like this. There we go. And they are basically a rapid fire kind of phaser, which works really, really well, and we'd never seen anything like it before. It also had ablative armour, so if you look at the ship, you have all these different weird and wonderful shapes and different colours, which basically show the fact that the ship was heavily armoured. It is a tough, compact ship, and it's great. It also featured a cloaking device, which is the first time in the Federation's history officially that it was allowed a cloaking device. Let's not forget the USS Pegasus in the Next Generation. So the shape of the ship, it is unique. There is no other Federation ship like it. It is basically a little beetle with a few wings and a little nose. That's how I would describe it. It's very compact. It's got a recessed bridge area, so it protects it slightly more than normal. The warp nacelles, rather than having a long cylindrical type of warp nacelle, has got a stubby little warp nacelle. Everything is overlapped and interconnected, so it is a very, very tough looking ship. The deflector is looking pretty cool at the front there, and then you have the minimalistic warp nacelles on the side. It looks hardcore. It is ready for battle. It was originally designed to take on the Borg, and it was designed with engineers led by Commander Sisko at the time. And after the Borg threat receded, they kind of shelved the whole project because it was an overpowered ship for the size. But then once the Borg threat re-emerged and the Dominion threat was happening at Deep Space Nine, Captain Sisko, he decided that they needed a ship, and that's where the Defiant was taken out of storage, I guess, and reinstated, which I think is great for the show because it really spiced things up a bit. The interior, so the styling of the interior, the bridge was really compact. You had the captain's chair in the middle, and in the later seasons you had a holographic view screen where the individual person would be viewed as a person, as opposed to just looking on the view screen. So it added a nice 3D element to it, and it also brought the drama closer to the captain when you could see the person standing right in front of you, and yet there's nothing you can do, especially with the likes of Commander Eddington, which caused lots of problems. It was also nice to see a refreshing change from all the Cardassian styling. You had all the consoles in the Cardassian style, which was okay but never quite looked advanced or nice, whereas the Defiant looked fresh, it looked Starfleet, it was brilliant. It was good to see the two against each other. The engineering room had a very TNG-esque feel to the antimatter matter injectors, and it was a small compact room, but it worked really, really well in the context of the ship. It didn't have a sick bay as such, but it had a small little infirmary, much to Dr. Bashir's annoyance. It also featured shuttle pods as opposed to shuttlecraft, so that the crew could still escape or go on secondary missions if they needed to. General performance and hero action. So the Defiant saw much combat, surprisingly, during the Dominion Wars and even against the Borg, commanded by Commander Worf at the time. But the three favourites that I liked was when it flew to save the Cardassian Council, and it tracked a Vulture Klingon ship. So the Vulture ship, very powerful Klingon ship, was firing at the Defiant, and the captain at the time decided that it was going to fire a tractor beam at its main phaser array and basically tracted it along, but diminished the accuracy of the phaser beam. It was a really cool shot. I liked it a lot. Also in the Mirror Universe, where it fought a huge Klingon battle cruiser, and although not strictly what happened with Captain Sisko in our universe, it did happen in the Mirror Universe, and it was a great sequence where the Defiant was just flying in and around the ship, and it was just going in really low level, firing at key critical components, and it was just a brilliantly shot battle scene. Absolutely brilliant. So exciting. Absolutely brilliant. And then finally, when Commander Eddington, he decided he was going to sabotage the Defiant and join the Marquis, it was great seeing the crew working manually to fly the ship around and get it ready back into battle to try and track down Commander Eddington. So you had Worf and Jadzia Dax, and you had Nog, and you had Captain Sisko and Chief O'Brien. Everyone was talking to each other manually. It was just a lot of technobabble, but I really liked that level of detail. It was really well executed. And then a little bit of trivia. This nose section, if all else was failing, it could be deployed almost like a mine or a torpedo. Obviously, the ship would lose its deflector on the front there, so it would be pretty incapacitated, but that's a last chance saloon kind of weapon, which I thought was pretty cool. And then the final time we saw the Defiant was at the second Battle of Chintoko against the Breen, where they used their energy damping weapons, and it completely incapacitated the Defiant, and it was just pummeled to hell. But its last act, and it was quite a touching scene where the ship tried to save its crew, where the escape pods were all ejecting, and the ship kind of went onto its back, protecting the escape pods as they flew away, and it was just completely destroyed, giving the escape pods a chance to get clear, which I thought was a really nice touch. Obviously, as we know, the Defiant was replaced by USS Sao Paulo, which Captain Sisko asked to be renamed to the USS Defiant for the latter part of Season 7 of Deep Space Nine. So it did continue it as another ship. I guess we can call it the USS Defiant A. So those are just my quick views on the Defiant. Please leave your comments below. I'd love to know what you think of the ship as well. Click subscribe, as I've got a lot more reviews coming your way. Thank you very much. Live long and prosper.